Hi everyone, I wanted to make this video to show everybody how we make Pyzy. Basically, me and Andrew are attempting to make about 80 to 100 of them for Super Bowl party tomorrow. This is going to be like a 2-day video because today's Saturday and we're going to do more of the prep work that is involved in making them. I know a lot of people were messaging me and asking me for an actual recipe, but it's kind of hard to explain each step typing it or writing it out, so I figured this would be the easiest way to do it. And if you're interested, then keep on watching and you can try it yourself. Okay, step one for our Pyzy making is I have 2 small to medium onions here and then 3 carrots. And we are going to shred them here, and this is going to be added to our meat mixture. And then also we peeled 15 pounds of potatoes. We're just soaking them in water right now. We're going to cut these up into slices and place them into the pots, and we're going to boil them tomorrow. So these are just going to sit overnight in the fridge in the water. Okay, now we have the 2 chopped onions and the 3 shredded carrots. And you don't exactly have to shred the carrots if you don't want to, but I feel like they cook easier in the oil and they get softer quicker when you shred them. And now I'm going to take these and put them over into a pot with a little bit of oil and cook them till they're about translucent. A splash of vegetable oil, you barely need any because the onions kind of caramelize on their own. So I'm just going to add the carrots. Whoops. And the onions. And this is all going to be added to the meat mixture, and it's going to be all grinded together, so it doesn't really matter how coarsely chopped anything is. So this is just going to cook until everything is really soft. Okay, and here's our 15 pounds of potatoes peeled and sliced up this long ways because it's going to be easy to put through the grinder after they're boiled. So this is what it looks like. These are just going to go into the fridge overnight, and in the morning we're going to transfer them probably to 3 pots so that everything boils evenly, and we'll show you that step tomorrow. Okay, so here are the carrots and onions. They're just about cooked down. There's a little bit of char on them, but that just adds a little extra flavor. And then here is my ground beef. This is the beef that I chose to use. There are several cuts of different beef that you could cook and use. Some even used rotisserie chicken, so it doesn't really matter what type of meat you have, just as long as you cook it up. And I'll show you what I season it with, and then it all goes through the grinder along with the onions and carrot mixture. Now here I have about 4 pounds of meat, but really in reality if you're just making dinner for like your family, you probably just want about 20 of them. So roughly 1 pound of meat and about 4 pounds of potatoes would probably make around 20-25 with the size that I make them. Okay, so here is our 4 pounds of ground beef cooking down. I'm going to add the seasoning now, and then I'm going to drain it so we get rid of all this excess oil from the meat cooking. The first seasoning I use is this good old baguette. And I probably need kind of a lot because there's a lot of meat. I don't have rough estimates of measurements, so bear with me please. Mix it all together, and then once it's drained and I have it in the bowl cooling, we'll kind of taste it just to see if it needs more seasoning. And then also I'm adding garlic powder. I never have enough garlic. Okay, and I'm going to mix this all together, and then we're going to drain it. The meat is in here. The seasoned meat is in here, draining, cooling off a little bit. And then I'm going to take this meat and add it to the onions and the carrots into another bowl, and I'm going to let it sit and cool till it's about, you know, room temperature. Okay, so here's the meat mixture and the carrots and onions, and I have them all in this bowl cooling off, just kind of mixing it around. A lot of the videos that I watched, none of them put carrots in them. I just did it because I like the color. You don't have to. And then the ones that did like the rotisserie chicken or any other type of meat, they basically just shredded it after it was cooked and seasoned, because this all goes through the grinder anyway, so it doesn't exactly matter what kind of meat. I guess it's just your preference of the type of meat you like. And like I said previously, this was all I had on hand the first time we made it, and it turned out really good, so I'm like, you know what, let's just do it again. The meat mixture is cooled now. Now my handy dandy helper is putting this through the grinder.
Whoops.
I feel very grateful to have this grinder this time around, because the first time was a little rough. I had an old grinder, hand grinder, that wouldn't stick to the counter, so it made it nearly impossible. But doing it this way should get it a lot quicker. So I'm just gonna push it in. Okay, so this is the finished meat product after it's been grinded through the grinder. The consistency is a lot finer than like a meatball, so that's why we have to put it through the grinder, but this is pretty much perfect. I'm gonna just put saran wrap down touching the meat and just put it in the fridge for tomorrow, and then that's when I'm gonna form the little balls first that are gonna be turned into the Pyzy. You may need to add a little bit of water in the morning, depending on how dry the meat is, because a lot of the oils and stuff came out and were squeezed out when we grinded it. But I found I just had to put like a half a cup of water to get back this type of consistency, but it might not happen again. So that is that. Okay, so that sums up our day one of prep. And the meat's gonna go in the fridge, the potatoes are gonna go in the fridge, and then tomorrow we are going to complete our Pyzy. So we are on day 2. We took all the potatoes out of the fridge and we are boiling them basically the same way you would make mashed potatoes. When they fall off of the fork, then we are going to drain them. Okay, so now I took the meat out of the fridge. The potatoes are gonna be done shortly. While those are cooling, I'm going to just, you can tell how the meat kind of hardened a little bit, so I'm just going to add a little bit of water and mix it together. I've already started creating the little balls, but basically after I rehydrated it with the water, it gives it the better consistency, so I just make it into small balls and I lay them all out. You can make them any size you'd like, but this is probably, I don't know, I don't have a perfect measurement for each one, so some of them are kind of different, but now we have the potatoes that have been boiled and drained, and we're putting them right through the grinder. We're cooking the bacon, and then right before it's completely done and crispy, we're going to add about 4 or 5 onions to this, because once everything's done, this is what goes right on top. So while we're grinding the potatoes, we're having this cooking. Okay, and since we use so many potatoes, I'm gonna have to break this up into two different bowls and do 2 separate things. So basically, I'm just kind of smushing these down. It's still really hot, so I'm trying to let it cool down because I'm not gonna be able to touch it with my hands until it's cooled. But basically, once putting them through the grinder, it gives them like a really smooth consistency, and that's really good because that's gonna be better for the dough. Okay, so now that I have all the potatoes smashed down, flattened, I'm going to score this into 4ths, and I take 1 of the 4th, a quarter out, sorry, Sorry, I'm doing this with one hand. You just scoop out a quarter of that and just set it right on top of the rest of it. Okay, so now it looks like there is a piece of the pie missing, but the pie is basically on top. So that's kind of what it's supposed to look like. So in that empty space right there, I'm opening up this flour. This is Polish potato flour. We got this from the Polish market. I'm sure you could probably try other specialty places that, you know, sell things like this, but it's not going to be at like your everyday supermarket. So this is from Polish market, and I'm just going to take the potato flour and fill it right in to this space. So it's about even with the rest of the potatoes. So this is basically what it should look like before it's going to be turned into dough. And then I have 1 egg. I'm going to add that in here, and then as soon as I add the egg, I'm just going to start mixing, and it's basically going to turn into like a dough. So this is what the dough turns out to be. So this is my second batch over here, and this is what it looks like. And then I kind of put it into a big pile, and then I sliced it in half, and I'm going to do it again.
My parents left all these things in here like this?
And then I'm going to break it up. Okay, so I broke this all up into 4 bigger pieces like this, and then I'm going to cut pieces to make about this size for each one. Alright, so I'm just going to take one of the slices. It's about the size of the palm of my hand, and I'm just going to smash it down and take one of the meatballs and put it in the center. It might break up a little bit, but just do your best to try to cover everything up and just form a ball like the rest of it. We've already started the boiling process, so that's why the water looks a little cloudy. Here's what they look like after they're boiled, but you basically put them in till they float right to the top.
I should do 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah, a little boil.
Okay, so about 5 minutes. He's the cook. Okay, and here is our bacon and onion mixture with a little bit of the grease drained out. But typically this is the topping that you would use, or you could just leave them bare and use a type of gravy, like a turkey gravy or chicken or mushroom gravy, to top them off as well. Okay, and this is the finished product with everything cooked and the topping. Smacznego!